And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Beyond the 90. Once again, if you're new here, thank you so much. I mean, the channel's gone a bit crazy of recent. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining and subscribing. We've got, and down below, Alex, as usual, to this side. And we've got Mark. So Mark, straight away, mate, let's just get straight into it. Kasper Schmeical in England. Let's just get all your thoughts on that, because there's just been so much in the last 24 hours.
It was a mixture of emotions last night, wasn't it? It was a real tough one to actually want Kasper to be on the losing side, and he put such a great performance in throughout the game. I think if he wasn't in goal, and it was a sort of usual standard goalie, it would have been 3-4-1. Some of the saves he made were unreal. The save from Harry Maguire was one that sort of stood out. The header, it was almost behind him when he clawed it back out. But what a professional, to go through what those guys went through in the tournament and then put that sort of performance in the semi-final. I couldn't be more proud of the guy, but I'm glad that they lost.
Yeah, it was always going to be a win-win, or however you look at lose-lose situation. And I know you were tweeting out about it during the match as well, but it was a fantastic display by Kasper. At the same time, nobody's really too surprised with from Leicester perspective, in my opinion.
The thing is, Leicester fans, we see this week in, week out from him, but it's more the other fans, I'd say the top six fans, or big six fans, who sort of think the only top players play for their clubs. They're the ones that you see were like, oh my God, what a performance from Schmeical. Where's this coming from? And it's like, this has been coming week in, week out for us. We saw it in the FA Cup final. We saw it against loads and loads of big games this season. It's absolutely no surprise to any Leicester fan.
No, it really isn't. Alex, I imagine you watched the game as well. What did you think?
Well, I was conflicted. I think there's a benefit for me being Canadian because, like, realistically, I'm like, if either team wins, I'm okay. But, you know, because I'm from the, Commonwealth of Canada, there's part of me that's like, oh, England. And then, like, my ancestors go all the way back to England. So I'm like, okay, I need to actually, cheer on England. So, it was a fantastic game. Like, I don't think you could have scripted it any better, Just what a performance. And then you look at Schmeical and, I think that just, really, like, highlighted, when we've been talking about all season long on how he is one of the world's best. I don't think that's even a question anymore. Last night's performance was guaranteed. And, as Ant said, I think there's going to be a lot of fans and supporters from other clubs, not only in the Premier League, but around the world that really have recognized that, seeing that, Schmeical is one of the best keepers in the world, even if he doesn't play on a quote-unquote top six club.
Yeah, but at the same time, Mark, I get that he doesn't play, but do you think the rumour mills will start for him now? Oh, Kasper Schmeical with a link back to Man United. You can see it once again, can't you?
I've seen it already. Today, yeah, I've seen it on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Man United fans saying, "Oh, he should be the successor to De Gea there." But for me now, you've got a guy that's been at the club 10 years. He's played 400 odd games for the club. I think, and I might be wrong, he would have an eye, being Kasper Schmeical, at looking at this all-time appearance list, and Graham Cross being at the top of that with 600 odd appearances, working out the fact he's probably got 5 good years left in him. I think he could probably play till he's, because of what sort of professional he is, he could probably play till he's nearly 40. I think he'll be eyeing taking our all-time record, and I don't see him going anywhere else now. I think he's happy with the career he's carving out. And when you are challenging for titles and trophies, why would you go anywhere else? And that's what we're going to be doing for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that, and crazy to think that. But at the same time, it's and the way he speaks about the club as well. I mean, in interviews, I remember before the FA Cup, and how he was talking about the owners and what he's been through, and seeing everything, and like the Vichai, like you're saying, behind your head. At the moment, it's like all these things. He knows what it means, but he's not going to go anywhere, and we know that. But it's just funny to watch the rumour mill spin, isn't it? Again and again.
Yeah, and it's always the same clubs that he's linked to. And my thing is, here at Leicester, he's Kasper Schmeical, his own person, his own man. If he goes to Man United or a club like that, he's instantly Peter's son again. But like at Leicester City, he's his own legend.
Does it wind you up, Ant, when you hear the commentators again say last night, "Oh, that sprawling save reminds me of the other Schmeical"? Because every time I hear that, I'm just like, give the guy a bit of a break. What a career he's having himself.
Yeah, but the the thing is, like to start with, it used to annoy me, but it becomes expected now with Sky. They've got we could have like a bingo list of like what you need to check off for Sky things. You could say about Leicester City's recruitment, about Schmeical, about the fact Vardy's been here for some time, a title winner. If you have all four of those, you've basically nailed down Sky's commentary for Leicester for a game.
Yeah, and potentially the fact that we slipped up twice in a row definitely gets mentioned as well. They've fallen off because they're not good enough. But yeah, you're right.
Is any of these players will be looking to move on at the end of the season?
Yeah, he'll do really well at an insert top 6 club here. But again, there's not been that much, Alex. But at the same time, it was just you think it's a good match. I didn't think it was a great match. There was a good intake at times, but a lot of the time I was like, this is quite boring for the one. I know it was 1 hour and 120 minutes, but I wasn't that impressed with the majority of the game, to be honest. It went quiet quite a lot.
You know what? I honestly think if I rewatched it, I might be on the same, wavelength as you, but I think I was just really excited for the match, because, there's England and I want England to win, but, I was excited to watch Schmeical in Denmark because Denmark's story through the Euros has been absolutely incredible. And just to see these two, nations come up and face off against each other was, to me, really exciting. And I think, I don't think you could have scripted it any other way. The way that Schmeichel performed, I think that was one thing that a lot of people didn't expect. But, us Leicester City fans, we knew what was going to happen, and that was the one thing that really got me excited was that I think there was going to be a lot of people that would put Denmark down right away, not expecting, really any fight. But that Schmeichel was there and he was going to, stand right to the very end and fight it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we'll go hand over to Glenn because I think Glenn's a bit busy. But Glenn, you've got the link. But yes, we'll have a look at this comment. We have a history with some of the great keepers over the years. Yeah, Kasper's name is up there exactly with Wallington, Shilton, Banks. Kasper is a world-class end-off. And I think that's the thing. We've seen, Mark, before that Kasper, we know how great Kasper Schmeichel is, but only during that England game did the world-class get thrown around by people that weren't Leicester fans.
Yeah, on our show earlier in the season, we had a discussion. I think it was when he hit his 400th game for the club. And, I put the question out there. And obviously, we've got a non-Leicester City fan on our show. And he said he would class Kasper as a Leicester City legend, but not necessarily a Premier League one. And at the time, I sort of, it sticks in your mind, doesn't it? The fact I'm talking about 6 months later. And actually, I think because of what he's achieved, he's taken to it the FA Cup win and the saves he made in the Cup final, the saves again last night. I think he just loves Wembley as well, doesn't he? So and he's done that against England before, hasn't he? And was it the Nations League or one of the qualifiers where he's been absolutely unbeatable? But for me, I wouldn't swap him for anyone. I can't wait to be in the Cup August the 14th, chanting his name as he's running towards us. It's gonna be an emotional moment.
Yeah, it really is. And coming on to that, obviously, Schmeichel's an amazing keeper and he's done amazing things. However, another player that's been really awesome in this tournament, Danny Ward. I mean, he's definitely, a lot of players obviously didn't get much game time in the last game in the previous season, but he's really going to be, now he's got that experience with Wales and stuff, he's definitely going to be pushing for that top spot, right? Because, I mean, I know we've talked about Schmeichel and he's amazing, but having Danny Ward there as well, and even Jakubovic as third, again, Leicester's keeper just keep getting overlooked again and again.
The thing, it says a lot of the two standout keepers in the Euros is both of Leicester's keepers. But I think Danny Ward now, as much as I like him, if he doesn't start playing some first-team football this year in terms of the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, early rounds of the Europa League, if he doesn't start playing some of these games for the sake of his career, I'll be looking to move on because he is too good to not play football. But I hope he stays. I hope he does play that rotation role and then eventually becomes number one. But at the same time, it does worry me. You're seeing him linked away a lot more now. And I do think he could be a number one for any team from sort of sixth down. He's good enough to be a number one.
He really is. But at the same time, Alex, what would you suggest next year? Because obviously both them keepers, you got to try and keep them all happy. I mean, Jakubovic isn't really going to get near the side, to be honest, with them two performing at that level. So what do you think is going to be the if you were manager, what would you do? How would you work it in terms of Schmeichel and then Ward? Because you've got to give it to him. Ward has had a fantastic Euros, and he's not even been mentioned even starting for Leicester.
Honestly, when you look at when you look at the performances from both Schmeichel and Ward in the Euros, I think it's warranted that Ward should play cup games and the group games in the Europa League. I really do believe that he's earned that chance, and if they're not willing to give him that opportunity, I think for the good of Ward's career is for him to move on. I don't want that to happen because I believe, like everyone else has said, he is a keeper that is only going to get better. And the fact that he's biding his time is incredible here because he could easily be a starter anywhere else. So having said that, I really hope that Rodgers is, considering the fact of, resting Schmeichel when he can, because we know that we're going to have a number one keeper. And, if Ward goes in to play, those cup games, or if he's in, any of those Europa League games. And I think it's just a healthy medium. You give rest to both keepers and they both get to play. I think it's a win-win situation in my opinion.
It's a real quandary though, isn't it? Because what do you do at the moment? You've got Danny Ward, whose value is probably at an all-time high since being at Leicester on the back of the Euros, and he's probably a season away from. I think the plan would be to get Everson. Is it Everson that we had out on loan last season? I think. Yeah, I think the plan would be to get him to be the number 2 keeper because he's so highly rated, and then potentially take over from Kasper down the line. But Danny Ward, is cup football enough for him now? And I'd probably suggest it's not. And he's worth his move. We're definitely not going to lose any money on him. And he's been a fantastic professional. I was just really proud of him in the Euros as well. It's brilliant to have both keepers there, wasn't it?
Yeah, just saying that. Sorry, you go, Alex.
Well, I was just going to mention also, we also just signed a new keeper, a young 18-year-old, Brad Young. That's another one that you need to start looking out on. The fact that the depth that we have at, in the keeper position is absolutely incredible. If, heaven forbid Schmeichel goes down, there's no worry because you got Danny Ward, and you have Iverson as your backup. So, and then even if, one of those two goes down, I still believe that, Iverson could be a relatively, reliable keeper if need be. And you still have this 18-year-old, Brad Young, who, from what I've read since those, since the signing, he's incredible. As well as, as Glenn mentions, you have a Dunzi, I'm going to butcher that last name, U.S. keeper. And, and I believe there's another keeper involved in there as well. I just don't know the name. And,
Stolacek. Is it Stolacek?
It's Stolacek, I think.
Yeah.
So when you look at the keepers and you look at the the depth, it's just insane. When we talk about one position that there should be no concern about is keeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just so much at the moment, and this is something that Rob Tanner mentioned. Again, if you've not seen that video, make sure you check that out. Again, we just grilled Rob Tanner on everything to do with Leicester City and all the rumours that have been going around. But he's got a good. Alex got a good point. There's just so many keepers that we've got, and obviously we're coming quite down the ranks from Kasper, but we're definitely in good hands. And the thing is, they've just gone and signed another one, so they definitely know what they're doing.
Yeah, the only concern might be that you get, as we say, with Danny Ward, that he may be slightly unhappy. But the depth that we've got, and it's not just depth, we've got quality within the depth as well, which I think is a key thing, because it's something that Brendan Rodgers has alluded to before, isn't it? Having 2 number ones. So the fact that he values Danny Ward that highly, hopefully, I'm hoping that next season he gets given a little bit of an opportunity in the Cups.
Yeah, I think so. And then Austin makes a good point as well. So good for Ward. He's had a hard to get his game with it, but we definitely have 2 best games and the 2 best keepers in the tournament. Definitely. I think them 2, and I think Sommer has been mentioned as well as one of the keepers of the tournament, even though it's not over at the moment. But yeah, they've just been, I think he's been insane, and I forgot my point now, but I think overall, that was it. I was going to say, in terms of, it's when we've had Jeff Peters and Rob Tanner on before, the plan was under Claude Puel to move Schmeichel on and then get Danny Ward as replacement. I mean, we spent £12 million on a keeper mark, and as you were saying, his value is pretty much as high as it's going to be at the moment, because if we don't play him enough, maybe it'll be a Dean Henderson situation where he has to go to another club and be loaned out to play somewhere else.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is going to come down to Brendan Rodgers' man management skills again, isn't it? So if he can keep Ward happy, and if Ward's got the belief that he can displace Kasper from that number one position, that's going to be a thing that would keep him at Leicester. I think when we all watch games like last night with Kasper, it's really difficult for us to see that no matter how good Ward is, on the back of 10 great years that Kasper's had, is he realistically going to be able to displace him permanently? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Alex, again, when it comes to not just the Euros and stuff like that as well, the thing is, coming back to kind of the England game, this is the thing where I'm like, I don't know about you guys as well. I'm definitely club over country. Sorry, I'm having some internet issues, and I'll just give it over to you in terms of, are you still, obviously everything's at the moment, but everything's Euros at the moment, but you still club over country?
Yeah, 100%. I'd rather see Leicester win the Community Shield than England win the World Cup. It's not. I enjoy watching England, but Leicester's the big one.
Fair enough. And over to you, Mark. Sorry, I'm having some internet issues again.
Yeah, I prefer England to win the World Cup than us to win the Charity Shield. And I've always been club over country, but I've got a little bit carried away on the excitement of it this time around. I'm not sure if it's having a young family and sort of going through all that, but I'll have my face paint on Sunday and be acting like a 12-year-old. So I'm looking forward to it.
And your thoughts, Alex, as well. Obviously, with coming from Canada, obviously with no player that's going to play for Leicester, which is again not a surprise if you watch Leicester throughout the years. But at the same time, who are obviously going to be back in England. But what are your thoughts on club over country?
Well, personally, club, because no offense to Canada, I love Canada. We are not one of the. We're getting better. I would definitely say we've definitely gone up the ranks, and it's going to be, this club's, Canada's going to be an exciting team to watch, moving forward. But, for me personally, it's always going to be Leicester. And Leicester City is going to be my, the one that I'm always going to be cheering on. So out of the two, that's going to be the thing. But Sunday, I'm, going to be cheering on England, because, like I said before, it's like that's the nation I have to cheer. I want to cheer for, and I'm excited to see the outcome because I feel like it's going to be a wild game.
It really is. Well, let's hope. And I was going to say something about obviously England and how we're playing, but there's part of me that just wants to get. I forgot what I was going to say in terms of England, but actually, I was going to say obviously we don't know until the day. But do you feel more apprehensive about the FA Cup final or with Leicester or the Euros with England?
FA Cup final, 100%. The thing is, I'm enjoying the Euros now they're on, and I'll watch them and stuff. But I don't massively get involved with the international football. I know, like everyone else seems to. For me, I watch it and I enjoy it, but I don't get as invested as everyone else seems to.
Fair enough. What do you think, Mark, as well? Because obviously Leicester's coming back soon. To be honest, I can't wait for them to get started.
I've just got, like I said, a bit carried away with it this time around, whereas I don't think I have for a little while. So the FA Cup was something special, wasn't it? That day, the nerves that I felt, the whole sort of, I don't know, grandeur of the day was something really special. But I just can't wait for Sunday. I never thought that I'd see England in a final, so I'm quite excited. If I was really sort of forced to choose between the two, I'd choose Leicester City all day long, though.
Fair enough. And I want to get your thoughts because we've not had you on since we won the FA Cup and you were there, mate. So just give me your thoughts on that, because that was unbelievable in itself.
The whole day, I mean, I put like a little snippet of a video out of the whole day, from waking up in the home in our home in Staffordshire to going through and going to the game, and actually just standing there outside the Sainsbury's at Wembley, singing Leicester City songs with all the other fans, you and as a Welshman ringing out and all that. But the day was incredible. I didn't think we'd win. I thought we'd put up a good fight. But that goal, we were right behind it. As soon as he hit it, I said goal, and Tom that I go with said no. Literally, as it flew in, it was just an unreal moment. I would hazard to say one of the best days of my life, except when my children were born and when I got married.
He's playing the politically correct thing.
See.
No. Yeah. Good save there, just as good as Kasper Schmeichal's save was in that match as well, in the 80-something minute. But yeah, that was unbelievable as well. Just, Glenn puts, apparently the young lady Mark hugged after the goal is still seeking therapy.
Neil, she wasn't a young lady. I'm not going to disrespect her in case she's listening, but apparently the hug that I gave her was the first contact she'd had from someone in over 15 months. I just couldn't control myself. I was in the row in front. I was all like, it was just, it was just a hell of a moment. I just couldn't stop myself.
I can't imagine something like that. I remember going all limbs when it pales into insignificance, but Kelechi Iheanacho against Everton for that last minute goal with the VAR check. That one was, I was in the family stand and I had people coming on the top of me, and that was I don't know if you've had anything like that, Alex, like in your experience watching hockey.
Not really. You know what? Like, it's funny. Like, I think I've explained this many times, but like, Canadians are weird. You know, we can be as polite as possible, but when a hockey game comes on, it's, you know, we're just these violent creatures. But like, you know, when if I'm gonna use like an example for hockey, you know, I've been down to like Leaf games, and you know, if it's a dying second goal, like the entire arena will erupt. But like, I've never had a point where someone has literally fallen on top of me, or like, you know, I've taken a right hook. You know, usually you just become best buddies with the guy beside you that you met like 20 minutes before the game started. That's pretty much what happens. But overall, like, I've never really been in a position where, you know, it's just been like utter chaos. You know, if the Leafs win the cup, if that ever does happen, I highly doubt it will ever happen. It'll probably be like that. But I'll probably be about 100 years old by the time that happens.
Fair enough. And you must have had some stories down at the ground over the years as well. I've definitely had hugged and kissed by random shirtless men. Probably nowadays that would get cancelled massively. But you must have had some stories down at the ground as well.
It's the Everton one, as you say. That's the one that really sticks out for me. The United comeback as well. That was that day was just incredible. I'm trying to think of any of it, anything that's just slightly different. Palace, you know, when Siunchu scored after like the whole, I'm not going to say what the chant was, but obviously after that, was quite big. But that was just an incredible day, and the atmosphere that day was really good. What else? I can't really think of many else. It's like, this is one of these questions, you know, but I'll think about it as soon as we finish.
Turn off the camera, you've got about 4.
Yeah.
So one of the best ones that I had was a Joa penalty against West Ham to make it 2-2. That was literally right in front of where we sit, where him and Drinkwater. You can only see it when you watch the videos now, them screaming, but they were literally screaming into our face, and it was unreal, that was, because we just thought that almost like the title had gone that day with Vardy getting sent off and everything. It was an unreal end to the game.
Yeah, that was amazing. I remember the one that I've got that kind of goes under the radar, but it's still one of my favourite moments was, I think we drew 2-2 to Man United, and Harry Maguire, of all people, got the goal in the last minute. And I remember that match. Normally, I'm really level-headed, to be honest. I sit there when the goal goes in, get in, and stuff like that. When I'm down the ground, it's slightly different. But that one, it felt like every decision in the world was going against. I think Daniel Amate came on for Simpson, got sent off. So we're like down to 10 men. Every decision was going against us. And then somebody decided to do like a Matt Elliott and stick Maguire up front. And again, Mark Albrighton once again. And that goal went in. Harry Maguire's running towards me in my own loving eyes, and I was like, "Do it, jump the fence!" And then I was like, "I know it's not worth it, Neil. It's not worth it." But they came and celebrated, as you were saying, just right in front of you. You're like, I just want to go join them, you know. So it's unbelievable. And again, I've just got there's not much to me, as you can tell. So I've got elbows and just hugs and kisses from random people. So it's definitely a good one.
You don't want footballers jumping the stands anyway, because they won't get back on the pitch like Bonucci the other night for Italy. He almost didn't get back there, did he?
No, that was scenes within itself, because that's going to be a tough match. I think their store statistic, they haven't lost in 32 games, and that's going to be a hell of a game, isn't it?
Yeah, but someone's got to beat them eventually, haven't they? And I don't think they won't be looking forward to a final at Wembley. like that. Like that's going to be huge. In fact, it's at Wembley. I think obviously now we've got to a final, and obviously that makes it the best chance. But it being at Wembley, home crowd, obviously we've conceded one goal all tournament. This is going to be our best chance to win any international silverware.
Yeah, it definitely is. Just before we get on to the other people's, shout out Diego Cante. If you've not managed to check it out, he's a fan of our show from Rhode Island. Make sure you check out the channel as well. So thanks for coming on, mate. We're trying to do more of them. So if you guys want to come on, let us know in the description. But Mark, what do you think, obviously, for the final as well? Because again, we're not going to have a better opportunity than this, obviously, because we're in the final, but just because of it's going to be at Wembley in front of home fans and everything.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 to England. I think it'll be a tight game. I don't see them scoring past us. I know they've got some talented players, but I can see Southgate go into a back three to counteract their flair. And I just think we're going to have a bit too much for their centre backs as the game goes on. They are masters of the dark art, though, aren't they? The Italians. Chiellini, I'm sure, will be pulling every hair on Kane's body on Sunday night.
Yeah, and then again, they're 34 and 36, but they don't look it, Alex. I don't know if you've been watching any of them. They've just been absolutely sensational at the back. And when you've got the likes of Saka running at them, you've got Kane obviously playing back, you've got Grealish, which we don't know if he's even going to start or if he's going to have 38-minute cameo as usual. But again, you're looking at this going, it's going to be a tough game, but a worthwhile game at the same time.
For sure. I'm not going to predict because you know me in predictions. I don't care if it's, international football or, club football. I'm not going to predict it. So, but I honestly think it's going to be a fantastic game. I really do. I was guessing that Italy was going to make it to the finals. I didn't have England getting to the finals, but now that it's England versus Italy, I think it's going to be one wild match, and I think it will go down to the final minutes of the game. It's going to be something that you're going to really have to hold on to your seats because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
As Diego says, it's written in the stars. Let's see again with everything happening, but I don't know. England and Leicester don't have the same look, and for time. There was time where I was supporting both of them going, they'd be both terrible. What am I watching football for? There's definitely been instances where that's happening. And I want to come on to something that we've not touched on, which I was supposed to touch on. I didn't manage to get around to it. Kasper Schmeical gets a laser in his eye. What the heck? Did you see much? I didn't see it in real time, but I only saw it afterwards as people were posting about it. I was like, what on earth is going on there?
It's mad, isn't it? I don't know if you've seen the memes of like Boris Johnson shooting the laser in his eye and stuff like that. So, the fact it happens ridiculous, and I hope that whoever did it gets the appropriate punishments. But it's one of those. I don't know how you get one of those into the crowd, but it is what it is, and I'm as shitty as it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that, again, as kind of somebody that puts me off supporting England a little bit is things like that. The booing of the knee, the booing of the Danish national anthem. It's just not necessary, Mark. I don't know if you've obviously been watching Leicester a bit longer, England a bit longer than I have, but it's just unnecessary in my opinion.
What are you trying to say? I've been watching them a bit longer. Are you casting aspersions on my age there?
Yeah, you are older than me.
No, it is. Last night for me was a disgrace with Schmeical. Laser, just some of those antics are really poor. And that's why I think a lot of the footballing world has these views of English football and English football supporters. And it's unfortunate, how you can boo the national anthem of a team that went through what they went through on the first match days, to me is unreal. So I don't like it. I found it really distasteful. And we've been charged with it as a nation, haven't we, by UEFA today? And we're going to get punished for a few idiots. And that's sort of the case, isn't it? I think it was the case in the late 80s and early 90s in English football where hooliganism was sort of rife. The clubs had to pay for the minority. That's the same again here.
Yeah, and I don't know what your thoughts are, Alex, on kind of the outside perspective, but it's just not necessary, is it? And it's just this is why kind of I think it probably puts the reason why people support their club over their country because of just stupidity like that.
Yeah, it's petty, and that's the frustrating thing. I think at the end of the day, when you really look at, with this green light, and you look at all the other issues that have arisen, not just like now, but through the years, it's frustrating how a few people can cause such chaos and cause issues for everybody else. And I think that's the most frustrating thing. Yeah, that's all I can really say about that. It's just frustrating, and it's just not needed. And at the end of the day, I think that's why we all choose,
Don't want to make any sweeping generalizations about it, but it was definitely Arsenal fans that did
it. Yeah, well, also you have an Aston Villa, so it's slightly different. I've just got distracted as well because Doug is here. So the worst nightmare, exactly. As many of you know, Doug is a Scottish fan. So that's obviously it's literally his worst nightmare as a Yeti boy goes. So he's probably not the best fan at the moment, but we'll have to see, mate. But then at the same time, this is why I can imagine going into this game though that Italy are going to be favourites, and not just in terms of, I think from an international perspective they're probably favourites as well, just because as Mark was saying, the way that England is portrayed on the big stage as well in terms of the fan base.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty even, and obviously it being at Wembley is a big factor. I just want to say to Doug, so Doug's now supported 6 teams throughout the Euros that England have played against, and obviously Scotland. They haven't won one game. Obviously, they did get their 0-0 win at Wembley, but so that's as good as a win. But him and along with a lot of other Scotsmen have supported every country England have played. Still haven't won a game. It's always next time.
Have you seen the photo from yesterday, where it was a photo of England and someone put South Copenhagen where Wales is and North Copenhagen where Scotland was? I had such a good laugh.
We've got a Scotsman on our show who's an Aston Villa fan, and he absolutely hated it. I counted back on his Twitter feed this morning, 17 tweets about how England are cheats and everyone's rubbish, and the world's going to end because England are winning a game of football. It's hilarious, isn't it? So that must be one that really cuts deep up there.
And then Chester's got, I support England, but support Wales, but cheer England. It feels very wrong, though. I don't know what to say to that as well. And Loire Cupboard's in again. It's going to be a epic final on Sunday, and I'm not mentioning them 3 words because, again, I would want to stay consistent, and like I would say a lot of people in the media have been, we're rubbish, we're amazing, we're rubbish, and it just flip-flops. So I'm just staying neutral in the middle. I don't know if anybody's going to challenge that rhetoric as well at the same time. If anybody got any, is everybody think it's coming home yet?
Yeah,
I will not say anything.
I've been saying it since the start of the tournament. I haven't believed it.
No, you don't know, do you? It's not a serious. That's the whole thing. It's not a serious thing, but the atmosphere is amazing at the minute. My stepson goes to school and the playground's ringing out with "It's Coming Home" and all the kids and the teachers are singing it. It's just fantastic. What a time to be alive.
I don't know how that song's annoyed so many people, because it's annoyed Modric at the start, didn't it? About it coming home. Then it's annoyed Schmeical. I don't think it's meant to be taken literally. It's like, when you're listening to The Killers, Mr. Brightside, when you said, "I'm coming out of a cage." It's not a literal thing, is it? But, I don't know. They just seem to have taken it literally and been offended by it. But who cares?
Yeah, exactly. And also it's put Schmeical and inadvertently Leicester again in the front stage going, right, this guy's good, he must play for, he plays for Leicester City. But have you guys got any thoughts before we finish as well, because that's pretty much all there is. It's a couple of rumors which it's not even worth talking about in my opinion, in Albrighton to Burnley, and I don't even want to say that's even a rumor that we're going to even think about.
If you want to see about that rumor, check out my video on it.
With a Burnley fan, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. But has anybody got anything else before we finish? Because again, it's just roll on the weekend, and hopefully we can have another party of the King Power. Hey.
Yeah, counting down the days to that. It's going to be an emotional one, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be. Alex, any thoughts before we finish?
No, I just, I think it's really exciting. It's going to be an epic Sunday, and then you just have a countdown to preseason, and I cannot wait to see a full stadium, while I sit on my couch and watch these games. That's going to be one thing. Yeah, my way of viewing these games will remain the same, but to see a jam-packed King Power Stadium is going to be absolutely amazing, and I am so excited for every single one of you that will be able to go see these games.
Yeah, there's got to be so many people that are trying to get stuff at the trying to get tickets, because that's going to be amazing. And who would have thought when you're trying to reserve tickets that you would have thought England was going to be there? Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, guys, make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We're definitely back with some more videos in terms of Leicester City, more content, but as you guys can tell, it's a bit dry at the moment. We'll try and keep you updated on what's happening, if any news, if Bertrand gets announced and stuff. I'm working on a video for that, but that's going to be a while. But if you've enjoyed, everybody, make sure you go and check out, I'm trying to put Mark's channel on YouTube, and his Twitter, again, it's down below, so you can check out his podcast as well, as he was talking about. Make sure to check out Ant's channel and his Burnley stuff. Alex, you can check them out on obviously LCFC Canada, and then you can check out us on Bernard the 90 and stuff there. But if you've enjoyed, like, subscribe, and we'll see everybody in the next video.